Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story set in a lively, colorful village, a tale about a woman named Simbi. This is a journey of riches, relationships, and realizations. So, grab a cozy spot and let's get started. In a bustling sunlit village, there lived a woman named Simbi. She was wealthy and striking, with a large home filled with elegant garments and dazzling treasures. Her father had left her this fortune before he passed away, leaving her with more than most could imagine. Whenever Simbi walked through the village, people would stop and stare, murmuring in awe at her beauty and wealth. But Simbi was unique, in her own way. She preferred the company of those who shared her status, people with plenty of coins and comforts. If someone less fortunate greeted her with a friendly wave, she often didn't return the gesture. Her father, though, had been different. He treated everyone kindly, sharing what he had with a warm heart. The villagers adored him for it and still held hope that Simbi might one day follow in his footsteps. Marriage wasn't on Simbi's mind, though. Her mother would often say, "Simbi, time moves forward. You should find a good partner." But Simbi would just shake her head. "No," she'd reply firmly. "I need someone extraordinary, richer than me, truly kind, and never married before." The villagers overheard this and whispered among themselves, "Who could possibly fit that description? No one around here does." So Simbi waited patiently, dreaming of the perfect man she was sure existed somewhere out there. For now, she was content with her wealth, her spacious home, her fine clothes, and her glittering jewels, unwilling to share them with anyone just yet. One bright afternoon, Simbi crossed paths with Mazi, a man from a nearby village. Like her, Mazi was well off, inheriting his wealth from his family. Simbi was drawn to him because of his riches, and Mazi felt the same about her. They quickly decided to tie the knot and build a life together. At first, everything seemed wonderful. They shared laughter, enjoyed delicious meals, and settled into a grand, comfortable house. To everyone watching, Simbi and Mazi looked like a flawless pair. But as time passed, cracks began to show. Simbi liked being in control. Whenever Mazi suggested something, she'd often counter, "No, we'll do it my way." She believed her wealth and slightly older age gave her the right to lead. One day, Mazi had to leave for a short trip. Before going, he asked Simbi, "Please, stay here until I return." But Simbi didn't heed his request. Instead, she went off to visit friends, traveling far without a word to him. When Mazi returned, he found their home silent and empty. "Where's Simbi?" he asked a neighbor. "She's out enjoying herself with friends," came the reply. Mazi waited. One day, then two, then three. When Simbi finally strolled back, he was frustrated. "Where were you?" he demanded. Simbi bristled at his tone. "Why does it matter? I can go wherever I please," she shot back. Their voices rose as they argued. Mazi insisted, "You should respect me. I'm still the leader of this home." But Simbi disagreed sharply. "I don't have to follow you. No one tells me how to live," she declared. With that, she gathered her belongings and returned to her own village, leaving Mazi and their shared life behind. Once again, she was on her own, back in her familiar big house, reflecting on what had happened. The villagers buzzed with curiosity about Simbi and Mazi, wondering what would come next. Her mother sighed. "No marriage is without flaws, Simbi." But Simbi brushed it off, convinced she'd find someone better. After parting ways with Mazi, Simbi met Ayo. Unlike Mazi or herself, Ayo wasn't wealthy, but he had a generous spirit. He was known as the kindest man in the village. Simbi thought, "Well, he's caring. That's one quality I wanted." So she and Ayo agreed to marry. Since Ayo didn't have much, he moved into Simbi's grand home. He worked hard to please her, cooking tasty dishes, keeping the house spotless, and even massaging her feet after long days. With what little he earned, Ayo sometimes bought her lovely dresses, always saying, "I just want to see you smile, Simbi." For a time she enjoyed it. She felt in charge, almost like the head of the household, while Ayo took on a supportive role. It made her feel powerful, and she was content with him ensuring her comfort. But soon, Simbi noticed something lacking. Ayo didn't add to their finances. He spent his days tending to her happiness, but the big house and lavish items needed funds to maintain. She began to think, Ayo's kind and attentive, but he doesn't work hard enough. He relies on what I've built instead of contributing. One evening she sat him down. "You're a good man, Ayo," she said, "but kindness alone doesn't keep this house running or put food on our table." Ayo's face fell. He wanted to make her happy, but didn't know how without money. Simbi's mother chimed in later. "You need to decide, Simbi. Do you value Ayo's care, or do you need a partner who earns? Someone with so much time to dote on you might not have time for work." Simbi pondered this deeply. In the end, she concluded, "I need more than just care." She turned to Ayo and said, "You have to go. You're not the husband I need." Heartbroken, Ayo packed up and left. Simbi was alone once more, surrounded by her possessions, but feeling unfulfilled. She missed Ayo's warmth, but craved something greater. The villagers murmured, "Simbi's sent another husband away. What's next?" After Ayo's departure, Simbi felt a touch of loneliness. Then she met Kofi. He seemed like everything she'd ever dreamed of. Handsome, incredibly wealthy, kind, caring, and never married. Kofi's perfect, Simbi thought. They soon wed, and it felt like she'd finally found her ideal match. Kofi showered her with stunning gifts, took her on exciting outings, and always kept her smiling. They danced, laughed, and filled their home with happiness. Simbi felt fortunate to have him, but as months turned into years, things shifted again. Kofi remained thoughtful, but Simbi didn't always return the favor. She rarely said please or thank you, and she didn't help with cooking or cleaning. "Kofi loves me," she reasoned, "so I don't need to bother with that." When Kofi's friends or family visited, Simbi greeted them coolly, offering little more than a curt hello. Family meant a lot to Kofi, especially his parents, but Simbi showed no interest in them. "Why should I bother? They can manage on their own," she'd say. Kofi's parents noticed her attitude. A wife should show kindness and respect, not just to her husband, but to his loved ones, they told him. They grew upset, eventually saying, "Simbi doesn't fit with our family." Kofi felt torn. He cared for Simbi, but he valued respect and goodwill too. He sat her down one day. "We can't stay together if you won't honor me and my family," he said. Simbi was stunned. She hadn't seen this coming. But Kofi's mind was made up. She packed her things and returned to her village, alone, yet again. Back in her big house, she thought about Kofi. She'd had all she wanted, yet happiness slipped away. A new idea flickered in her mind. Maybe it's not just about finding the right husband. Maybe I need to be a better wife. But it was too late for her and Kofi. When Simbi arrived back in her village after leaving Kofi, a shock awaited her. A flood had swept through, destroying much of the area, including the farms that fueled her wealth. Suddenly, her riches were gone. Her grand home felt empty without food to fill it or money to spend. She and her mother had to leave it behind, moving into a tiny hut, far smaller than anywhere Simbi had ever lived. At first she felt lost. She missed her plush bed, her sparkling treasures, and her fine wardrobe. Now she wore plain clothes and helped her mother cook with whatever scraps they could find. Living simply forced Simbi to reflect. She thought about Mazi, Ayo, and Kofi. "I had 3 decent husbands, she admitted to herself, but I wasn't a good partner. I wanted control with Mazi, overlooked Ayo's care, and didn't value Kofi or his family. Simbi began to see she'd been chasing a flawless husband without considering what it meant to be a supportive wife. I wasn't kind, she realized. I didn't share or assist. I only focused on my own desires. In the modest hut, she learned to get by with less. She started talking to neighbors she'd once ignored in her wealthy days. They welcomed her, sharing meals and tales. Simbi began to give back, offering what little she and her mother had. Her perspective shifted. She learned to say please and thank you, to listen instead of always leading. She discovered that wealth in money didn't equal wealth in spirit. One day she told her mother, "I was wrong. It wasn't my husband's faults. It was mine. I forgot kindness and respect." Her mother embraced her, glad to see Simbi growing. Through this simple life, Simbi uncovered a vital truth. Happiness didn't come from riches or control. It came from generosity, connection, and respect. As Simbi adjusted to her quieter existence, she met someone unexpected, Gogo. He was unlike the men she'd married before. Gogo wasn't rich, and he'd been married once, none of the traits Simbi used to demand. Yet there was something special about him. He was warm, full of laughter, and genuinely cared for her in a way she hadn't felt before. They became friends, chatting, helping each other, and sharing smiles. Simbi liked how Gogo made her feel. Free from worries about wealth or power, she was just herself with him. One day Gogo asked, "Simbi, will you marry me?" She paused to think. Gogo didn't have much and he didn't match her old checklist. But she realized those things no longer mattered. Being valued, sharing joy, and supporting each other. That's what brought her peace. So she said, yes. Simbi and Gogo wed and began their life together in the small hut. It was simpler than her past, but richer in ways she hadn't expected. They didn't have much, but they had each other. They pooled what they owned, working as a team to make their little space a haven of love and laughter. Simbi stayed true to Gogo. She no longer sought someone wealthier or stronger. She'd learned to cherish what she had. They respected one another, listening when the other spoke, helping without being asked. Neighbors noticed their joy, seeing how Simbi had softened. She was gentler now, smiling more, pitching in to help others. Simbi had matured. She understood that happiness didn't stem from having the most or being in charge. It came from sharing life with someone who cared, from kindness and from contentment. Their marriage wasn't a grand tale of palaces and riches. It was a quiet story of real happiness found in a humble hut with basic clothes and simple meals. But it was theirs, woven with love. Simbi had finally found what she'd been searching for, not in wealth or status, but in a heart that matched hers. One peaceful evening, she sat outside their hut gazing at the stars. She thought back to her days in the big house, surrounded by luxury, and compared it to now, living simply with Gogo. Her heart felt full. She'd once believed a rich, kind, unmarried husband would bring her joy. She'd married Mazi, Ayo, and Kofi, seeking fulfillment in what they offered. But each time, something was off. It wasn't until she lost everything and embraced a modest life that she found true contentment with Gogo. Simbi learned that happiness wasn't about money or control. It was about sharing, understanding, and love. She saw that no marriage is flawless. Every bond has its struggles. What matters is facing those challenges together with compromise and support. She recognized her past errors, searching for perfection in her partners without offering it herself. A strong marriage, she now knew, isn't about finding someone who checks every box. It's about building a life where both feel valued and cared for. Under the stars, Simbi felt thankful for her journey. It had shown her the essence of love and joy. She was grateful for Gogo for his affection and for their shared life. The lesson in Simbi's story shines through. No marriage is entirely perfect. What makes it special isn't finding an ideal person, but growing together, understanding each other and compromising to create a loving bond. Happiness doesn't come from chasing flawlessness in others. It comes from appreciating what you have and the love you share. Simbi's tale reminds us that the key to a joyful life and marriage lies not in a partner's wealth or position, but in the respect, care, and connection you nurture together. That, in the end, is the greatest treasure, and that's Simbi's story. I hope you enjoyed this tale of growth and discovery. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your loved ones, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.